Today I would like to share some basic but very important Dataweave tips. Dataweave could be used to transform any payload into any outgoing message. But in many situations, Dataweave is also used to extract values from incoming payload and assigning these values to flow variables. For this tutorial, I created a simple project which takes incoming HTTP requests in JSON format, extracts some values from that payload, stores them into flow variables, and returns the result. So for that, let's use Dataweave. I'll drag it right here in the middle. This way we can log the message before transformation and after transformation. I'm gonna click on the transform message to see what we have. So this is our payload, which is address information. Now, to create a flow variable and assign some kind of a value to it, we're gonna press the plus right here. We select variable, and by the way, this can be a session variable, regular variable, or property. We're gonna select regular variable, which is flow variable, and we're gonna name it address type. Select OK. So now we have address type, as you see it right here. It's address type, flow variable, and what we can do is we can assign a value to it. To assign value to it, we do define metadata, so we need to specify what kind of type is that address type. So we go here and we say address type string. And we keep it as simple string value because address type in our case is just a simple string. After you've done that, you can simply drag type onto the address type, and that's it, payload.type selected. So now our variable address type will contain value of type from incoming payload. Okay, perfect. So let's save it. And let's test it out. Run as application. This is API kit based application, so you will see RAML console to come up, and we're gonna try to create an address. So I'm gonna paste my JSON payload. This is our type, which is shipping. We do post. And here's what I wanted to pay attention to. Address payload before Dataweave is this. That's what we received. That's correct. Address payload after Dataweave is empty. So that's one of my tips. If you use your Dataweave to only fetch values from request and store them into variables, make sure that, and I'm gonna select it here, I'm gonna select payload. As you see, by default, for some reason, Dataweave doesn't set your outgoing message to the same payload that came in, which is very important, and I'm not sure why it doesn't behave like this by default, but it should really set your outgoing payload to the incoming payload, because all you are doing here is just setting the values. So to make that work, you can just type payload, all right, or you can drag payload from left to right, same thing. So we save it here, it will restart it, and let me post again. Okay, and now if we look at the messages, we see that before it's this and after it's that. So we have not lost any payload, which is very, very important. So to demonstrate the use of the variable, here you can say address payload after DW is the payload. Before we can say address of type and then we can actually make use of that flow variable, and it was address, oops, my bad. We can click Control Space, by the way, and that will bring up all your flow variables. So we want to actually output address type on the logger that's at the very end. Let me save it. Application will redeploy, and what we should see as a result of the next submit of the request data is the output of the address type stored in that flow variable. So I'm gonna press post again, look at the console. We have our request, our response, address of type shipping. So as you see, now we have shipping value preserved in flow variable, and then we also have payload, the same payload as came in is going out. So we preserved the payload, it's still there, did not disappear. This is very important. And another important tip for Dataweave: whenever you deal with JSON, especially JSON, it's very important to set option to skip null on, and usually I use everywhere. This means that for some reason, if address line 2 did not come in the request, it will not get created in the response as a null value. And that's important, especially in case of JSON. So make sure you always have your skip null on everywhere turned on. That's it. Enjoy.